Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Venerable Sangha, Salis and Letty. So, yes. So So today, so last week we finished the third method, right? So today we have to start the fourth method. But before starting the method number 4, I would like to share with you a couple of details from the commentaries regarding Khanda, āyatana, and dhātu, because I thought it would be helpful, especially for the practitioners, to know the meanings which is there in the commentaries, right? Because some of you all have maybe doing this the meditation, right, based on Khanda, āyatana, and dhātu, and you all may have known it by your practice and also some meanings. But I know that some of the meanings which comes in the commentary are not there in some of the texts that we are using. So I thought it would be beneficial for everybody to have a kind of a good or a comprehensive or a much detailed understanding regarding the Khanda, āyatana, and dhātu. So for that, I prepared a small note, which is from the commentary. It's not of course, it's not a full, complete translation, but I'll try to present you all whatever it is as much as possible from my side to make sure that you understand what the meaning given in the commentaries. Yes.
好，在这节课，尊者呢将会给大家引述一下有关于运处界相关的内容，结合译注的以及附注的内容来为大家进行一些拓展。那尊者也提到，有一些的禅修者，他们在实际禅修的过程之中，实际上就会用一些的禅修的方法，比如说五蕴法、十八界的方式呢去禅修。那为了能够让大家有更好的对于运出界的了解，尤其是结合译注附注的解释呢，那尊者在这里将会为大家做一些的讲解。那这些的内容呢，这些的材料虽然说并不是特别的全面，但是呢，尊者会尽力的为大家很好的呈现出来。
Yes. So these details, they are from the commentary, which from the commentary for the Vibhanga Dhatukatha, and also some of those details which I'm going to explain are there in the Visuddhimagga as well, Visuddhimagga commentary as well. So first I'll go through what is meant as Khanda. Khanda, we know it's in English, it's translated as aggregates. So regarding the meaning of aggregate, the commentaries, it explains in two ways what is meant as an aggregate. So pretty much the first one is called rasito in Pali. That is what translated as aggregate. So this is the main meaning, the main or the most prominent meaning of the aggregate, right? Yes.
好，那在这里首先为大家解释的是与运相关的内容。这里的内容主要参考于分别论的注释，以及呢来自于清净道论的一些的注释。对于运的解释呢，在这里主要有两种的解释，一个呢是 rasido，那第二个呢是 Buddha DB。尊者说，第一个的 rasido 是它的主要的含义。那翻译过来呢，就是我们通常所说的堆积、聚集以及聚集在一起的含义。
Yes. So the other meaning, which is the secondary meaning, it's called kothasa. So it means in English, it's called as the component or the portion. So I got the meanings for the rasi. So in the commentary, it explained like few words. There are few words explaining the rasi, which is pinda, puga, gata, and rasi. So these are the they are synonyms, right? Which they have the pretty much the same meaning. But I thought it would be beneficial for you, even though these individual terms, individual words have same meanings, pretty much the same meanings. I thought it would be beneficial for to explain with few examples which comes in the Pali itself, from the Pali and the commentaries itself. So I thought it would be good for you all if you have this understanding. In terms of these few words from the rasi.
首先呢，对于 rasido 在注释当中呢提到它的解释的含义呢有这样的4种 ：binda、buga、gata 和 rasato rasi。那在这里面呢，这些的含义，你有些时候呢，虽然会被大家所见到，但是呢，如果能够结合译注的内容，详尽的为大家进行解释呢，那么可以为大家扩展相关的对于韵的理解。
Yes. So the first meaning, it's given as pinda. Right? It's given as pinda. Right? Pinda. Pinda means in the Pali you call it as a lump. Right? So the example which I found from the Pali was gula pinda. Gula pinda means it's a lump of jaggery. You know, jaggery we consumed in the afternoon. It's a 7 days medicine, of course. So it's made of the either from the sugar cane or the palm, from the palm trickle. It's comprised of this sugar cane or the trickle from the palm. So you lump it, right? It's called a so when you make it, it comes as a lump, right? So the production, so it consists of the same thing, which comes from same component. I'm sorry, yeah, either from, it's like a same type of input, and it is lumped together. So that's why the meaning means as pinda, which means to lump in together, right? So that's the then it becomes an aggregate. Of course, when you have a lump, it's aggregated together. So that's why I call as pinda, right? In the Pali, it's given as ayanhi khandato nama pindatto. That's what it mentioned.
好，那么在这里呢，结合经文的内容，巴利的内容，让我们看到阿扬黑坎达州那么宾达州。那在这里，对于坎大它的含义，之所以叫做含义呢，首先第一个解释呢就是宾大。宾大是什么的含义呢？英文的话呢，我们将它翻译成为lump，它的含义呢就是一块一团或者呢说是一堆的含义。那如何去理解这个词汇呢？那我们看到下面的举例，有提到古拉宾达，那就是比库所使用的是仙药比如说这里提到的呢就是一块的红糖，那它可以作为七日药来去使用，那这个呢就是 Rasido 的第一个含义宾达。
So the next one is called as Pugatto. Pugatto means Puga, it means a guild, association, or a mass, right? So the Pali, with the example, it's like Puga, Pugo Nama, Visungisung, Samoha Hutva, Punya Karino, Dhammika Amanusa. It mentions like Puga means that a group, right? A group of people which do Kusala Kama, the Punya, like that, right? So in our monasteries there are different groups, like we have different groups from Myanmar. They get together and offer requisites to the monastery, right? So there are different groups, but you have a collection, we have an association, they are amassed together. So that is what is mentioned as puga.
But can I have a question here?
Yes.
So the Buddha here, what is it is a neutral or it is a male?
Yeah, pugo.
It's male, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
you see, over here.
Sometimes can we understand as neutral, like Buddha also have a meaning of aggregate?
Neutral. Let me check. Might be the case that it may fall into two genders or maybe three. Yeah, let me check. Please go and explain. I'll check it in the dictionary.
Okay, I will translate. 那第二个含 Rasido 的第二个含义呢，Buddha 则是我们可以借由这一段的这句话的例子来去理解Bhikkhu nama visu samuha Buddha punya karino tamika manusa。那在这里呢Buddha 的含义呢可以指那些在一起组成一个社团的人或一个团体的人，他们呢一起去从事去做一些的善业或者是善法。那换言之，Buddha 在这里我们如何去理解它呢？它可以被理解为团体或者是社团的含义。
Yes, also I checked the dictionary. The Sinhalese dictionary, it says it's the masculine. It's masculine term.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So the next one is called Ghatato. Ghatato means Ghata. Again, it's similar meaning, right? It means again a pile, a heap, or a collection of something, right? So the best example we can find is Ghatana, right? In Patana there is something called in the Panhavara there is a section called Ghatana. In the Ghatana, in the Desana, in the Ghatana Desana, the collection of pachas are included, like which falls into the set for a particular set of dhammas, right? For a particular set of Pachupanna dhammas. It explains a collection of pachas, right? Say Sahajata, Nisaya, Atti, Avigata. Then we get the pachas from the other groups, and we have the collection of pachas, right? So it's a pile or a heap or a collection. So again, you have the same meaning for Khanda as well. You have everything falls into this one, right? It falls into aggregate, right? But it is explained in different ways, right? Gata.
那第三个含义呢是 Gatato， Gata 的含义。Gata 在这里面它的含义呢可以被理解为一群或者呢是一个集合或集团。那它的含义呢跟上面的这些词汇所表达的含义呢并没有太大的差别。那 Gata 呢我们可以借助Gatana这个词呢来去理解。那在发趣论之中呢，Gatana在发趣论之中就有提及是诸缘的各种类型的集合或者是组合那换言之呢，对于Gata而言，在这里它就拥有着集合一群这样的含义。
Yes. Okay. So the next one, it's called Rasato. Rasato means aggregate, of course, and we have given the same meaning for heap, pile, and collection. It's the same meaning, which Gata, but we find this word in Pali. Again, the example which I found was for the Udaka Rasi. Rasi means the collection or the heap of water, right? So in the ocean, there is a heap of water, collection of water, right? So that's what is mentioned, the Rasatta.
好，那第4个的含义呢是 rasato， 那它的含义呢，实际上跟上面的嘎大这个翻译呢是基本没有差别的。那它的含义呢，就是比如说一堆或者呢是一叠，也是一堆，或者呢是这个一群集合在一起。那比如说看这样的巴利词 udaka rasi。那这里的udaka呢是水 ，rasi 呢就是一堆，那 udaka rasi 呢就是一堆的水，换言之呢就是海洋的含义。
So now we move to the next one, which is the kottasa. Kottasa means the component or the portion, right? The example, which is the way it is explained, is quite very easy to understand, and it's a very practical way to recognize this thing, to understand this thing. So what is mentioned is, like, say for example, if somebody kottasa means component, right, or the portion. Say now if somebody get a loan from the bank or from another person, and what he is supposed to do is to repay that loan in installments, right? So when you pay it in installment, one installment is a one component or a one portion of from the full amount of that loan. So like that for the for the same manner, if you say rupa khanda, we have this meaning of component as well, right? So if we consider the whole set of aggregates, rupa khanda is one component, and even within that component, you can further divide it like that. Yes, sir.
那么对于运呢，它的另外一个含义呢，就是kottasato db 以及是部分那部分的含义某一个部分的含义，它有着在比如说一团的概念之中独自各个拥有着其特征的这样的含义。那么透过各自的部分呢，然后汇合在一起构成整体。那比如说在观察色句的时候，那么看到色句之后呢，就会了知在一个色句里面呢，构成它的就有各个的部分。那进一步的辨识呢，就是可以观察到构成色句的是哪些部分的色法，何种类型的色法。
So when it comes to the aggregates, there are 11 types of aggregates, right? I'm sorry, there are 11 types of components in aggregates. So for each of the aggregates, now say for example, if you say for the rupa khanda or the matter aggregate, there are 11 components, right? So these are the components. One, it's called atita, which is the past. The rupa khanda belong to the past. Then number 2, it's anagata, which means the future. Number 3, it's called pachuppanna, which means the present. So these 3 is number 1, 2, 3. This is based on the time, right? In which time which the particular component belongs to in terms of the time. So the other method is ajatta and bahidda, which means the internal and the external. And number 6 and number 7, it's olarika and sukuma, which means olarika means the gross, sukuma means the subtle rupa. So number 8 and number 9, it's hina, which means inferior. Number 9 is panita, which means superior. Number 10 and number 11, it's dure and santike. Dure means distance and santike means proximate, which means nearby. So the rupa can be divided like this, in this way, right? So in the suttas, and also in the Abhidhamma, we find this division in the aggregates, right? So these are the components which belongs to each of the aggregates, right? For all 5 aggregates, we have these 11 components, right? So again, this is a way to practice the meditation, right? To practice the vipassana, of course. Yes.
好，那么对于韵呢，在这里，宽泛的指代五蕴，包含有名韵，也包含有色韵。那名韵以及色韵，换言之诸韵，它们呢可以以11种的方式来去进行辨识，即是11种的构成方式。那11种的观察的方式呢，它们可以是在这里面的第一、第二、第三是建立在时间的基础之上的阿迪达过去，阿那嘎达未来，巴珠巴那现在。那接下来呢，那是阿扎达内在，巴黑达巴黑达外在。那接下来呢，欧拉瑞嘎是粗的，苏库玛是细的，伊那低劣的，巴尼达殊胜的，杜瑞远的，散迪给近的。在经教法和论教法之中都会提及这11种的方式，在辨识诸韵、辨识五蕴的时候，可以用这样11种的方式呢来去进行辨识。这些练习的方式呢，尤其是在观禅的部分呢，也会去实际的去练习，实际的应用。
And in the next line, in the next sentence which I included, that is from the Khanda Vibhanga sub-commentary, which is from the Vibhanga Prakarana sub-commentary, and it explains why the Nibbana is not considered in the analysis of the aggregates, right? We know Nibbana is not included in the analysis or the division of aggregates, right? It's not there. So the reason is that now say for the Rupa Khanda, Vedana Khanda and all the 5 aggregates, there is a division. It comprises of components, these 11 type of components, right? Past, future, present, internal, external, etc. We have this division, but when it comes to the Nibbana, there is no division like that. So that's why, that's one reason for Nibbana to be not included in the aggregates. Also, now this is the meaning for the Kottasa, right? So again, we learn the meaning of Rasi. So for regarding the Rasi also, it doesn't comprises on aggregates, right? It doesn't have any a lump or any kind of association or a heap or a collection. So the Nibbana does not have any kind of these things. So because of that reason, also the Nibbana does not fall into the analysis of aggregates, right? And the division of the aggregates. So there are two reasons, right? One is because it doesn't fall into the Kottasa like this as a component, and also it doesn't have an aggregates, right? It doesn't have a heap. It doesn't have a collection. So because of those two reasons, Nibbana does not fall into the analysis or the categorization of aggregates. Yes, also.
那接下来，尊者引用了坎达维班嘎韵分别的译注的内容来解释有关于涅槃的问题。那涅槃在我们之前的学习之中也了知，它并不被包含在韵之中。为什么呢？那结合译注的内容，总结下来有主要的2个原因。第一个原因呢，就是涅槃它不可以以部分的方式来去将它划分或分离。那第2个原因呢，是涅槃它并不是聚集堆积而成的。那因为这样的缘故呢，所以在这里 而称涅槃呢，它并不会被包含在蕴之中。
Yes. So now we move into the āyatana, which is called as bases, right? So in the commentaries, it's explained again in quite detail, right? So you already know the meaning of ayat. I mean, maybe you have practiced it already for all the 12 ayatanas, but the commentaries, it explain, and we know the meaning. It's as given as basis, which is based on one of those meanings which is explained in this chart, in this note. So I'll go through them one by one and try to explain those different meanings, right, which comes from grammatically and how it is connected to the Paramattha Dhamma, how it is connected to the Dhamma which is explained, right? So this is the approach which is explained in the commentary, right? So first one, it is called as āyatana, which means uh, which means that the mind and the mental factors, they do make an effort. They strive to do a particular functions. They try to perform their functions, their own functions, in the eye base and the visible form, etc. Right? So from the eye base and the visible form, the mind, the mental factors, the mind and the mental factors both strive. So that's what is meant as āyatana, right? So in Pali, it says like āyatanti, uttahanti, ghattenti, vayamanti, buddhaṃ hoti, which means it strives to do their own task in these ayatanas, in these 12 ayatanas, right? The mind and the mental factors. Yes, also.
好，那接下来呢是有关于阿亚达那处，它的相关的解释。在这里呢，主要可以以它不同解释的语法的角度呢，来去理解它究竟是什么样的含义。首先，第一个呢是阿亚达那豆。什么是阿亚达那豆呢？它指的是心和心所呢，他们各自的努力的去完成他们各自的这个功能尤其是在眼触和这个色所缘碰撞的时候，一起工作的时候，那在这个过程之中心跟心所等他们会努力的完成他们各自的功能。那这个呢被叫做阿亚达那豆。
Yes, and the next one is called āyanam tananato, right? So āyanam tananato. So which it means that these doors and the objects, right? Doors and the objects, which are the ayatana, right? Those and the objects, they extend the mind and the mental factors when they are arised based on its respective door and object. So what it means by extending means that it gathers, right? Gathers things and extend it when it is arise based on the whatever the respective door and the object. Now, say for example, if the Chakkayatana and Rupayatana, eye base and visible form. So it extends based on the input which comes from the external things, external objects. It extends the mind and the mental factors, right? So that's what is meant as the āyanam tananatu.
那接下来第二个的含义呢是阿亚那达那那多，那它的含义是什么呢？那对于我们的触门与所缘，他们会推动我们的心和心所当他们尤其是当这些的心跟心所依于其各自的触门和所缘而转起的时候，那么这些触门和所缘呢，他们都会推进或推动心和心所这个是它的第二个含义。
Right. Yes. So the next one, it's called āyatasaca nayanato. So āyatasaca nayanato, it means that because of the āyatanas, it is capable to send the beings, right? Whatever the being who possess these āyatana in the samsara, which has an inconceivable beginning, right? So this is capable of sending the being, right? Because of the āyatana, it is capable of sending the beings to the samsara, which does not have an inconceivable beginning, right? And an end, of course, right? Until which is stopped, right? Until which is stopped, it is capable of sending the beings to the samsara, which comprises of a lot of dukkha, right? Samsara dukkha. So because of that, it's called as āyatana, right? That means the āyatasaca nayanato.
那第三个含义是阿亚达萨扎那亚那多。那如何理解呢？它的意思是因为它会使得有情会让有情投入到无始的轮回之中去。那也就是基于这些的处，会使得有情不断的轮回而经历轮回中的苦，以这样的含义呢，而将它称之为阿亚达那。
Right. So now we went through the first three meanings of āyatana, and these three meanings, right? So these three meanings, the first three, these first three are based on the grammar, right? Pretty much based on the grammar, which means āyatanato, āyatana, āyanang tananato, āyatana, āyatasaca nayanato, āyatana, right? So grammatically, you elide some of the syllables or some of the syllables in these words, right? You elide some of them, and then you derive the word āyatana, right? In either way, it's directly related to the sarupata, I mean the paramata dhamma, right? So from each of the grammatical meaning, we can relate it, and of course you can practice by considering each of these meanings.
好，我们上述提到的这三个解释呢，那么从语法的规则上，借由这些呈现的词呢，我们透过一些的语法规则，就可以将它们提取而出现，构成阿亚达那处的含义。那不管如何呢，阿亚达那借由上述的这三种的解释呢，它的含义主要都是涉及到一些类型的究竟法。
Yes, and then we move to the next set of meanings, which are pretty much based on the usage of some terms which comes in the Pali. So number 4, we find nivasatthanattena, right? Nivasatthanattena. So nivasatthanattena means it's the dwelling place or the living place, right? So it has given a couple of examples called Issarayatanang, Vasudevayatanang. So it explained on a particular place, a living place of particular people, right? So what you see when it comes to Chakku, Rupa, and all these 12 āyatana. So those 12 āyatana, they become the dwelling place for the Chitta and Chetasika Dhammas. Right? We already know each of these āyatana. They comprise of Chitta and Chetasika. So this āyatana becomes a nivasatthanatena, becomes a place, a living place, a dwelling place for the Chitta and Chetasika Dhamma, right? Chetasika Dhammas. So that's also considered as the āyatana.
接下来第4个含义呢，是 nivasa 就是住处。在这里呢是 nivasatthanatena 就是以住处的含义。那么如何理解呢？就是这里的处呢，在这里解释为居住处，或者是是它的存在的地方。那么它可以是理解为广义的一些人他们居住的地方。那在另外一层含义呢，它也指代比如说像眼、像色就是眼镜色、色所缘等等这12种的处，它们呢是作为心法与心所法的住处。那因为这样的缘故呢而被称之为是āyatana 称之为是处。
Right. So the next one, the next meaning is called ākarattena, which means the mind or a place of production. Right? You know, it's a mind. There is a if say if it's a gold mine, then you have the gold inside, right? And of course, it's a place of production, right? So like that, you see the same characteristics for the āyatanas, for the Chakka āyatana and the other āyatanas, right? So that's what is mentioned as ākarattena, place of production, or we call it as a mind, right?
And so, Bani, for this one, can you lead us to explain the Bali sentence?
Oh, it says Swannayatanang Rajatayatananti Adisu Akaro. Swannayatanang means the gold mine. Rajatayatanang means the silver mines. So in those places, it means as Akaro. Oh, I think the C is missing here. It should be Chakkadisu. Chakkadisu ca te akinna tang nisitatta tadaramanatta chati chakkadayo nesang akaro. Chakkadisu ca, which means in the chakku also, te akinna, the mind and the mental factors, so they are mixed, and it's mixed and it's included. And tang nisitatta, because it becomes a nissaya, it becomes a dwelling, a supportive place. Tada rammanatta, which means for the external object, say for example the visible object, if it's the audible object, so it becomes the arammana as well. So because of that, chakkadayo nesang akaro, which means for the mind and the mind mental factors, I think it also included the rupa as well. It becomes the place of production, or the place which is it's like a mine, you say, like that. Akaro means mine.
OK，的。好，接下来第5个的含义呢是 ākarattena。那 ākara 以 ākara 的含义 ，ākara 在这里是什么意思呢 ？ākara 的意思是矿，那就是能够产出的地方。那比如说像suwana yatana、rajada yatana， 那就是像金矿银矿等等以这些的作用而被称之为是矿。那在另外的一个 含义上呢，即是说，比如在盐等的地方呢，他们会去执行像住处衣处，比如说眼处呢，可以作为眼识及其相应民法的衣处，或者呢，他们呢这个可以作为所缘比如说像厕所缘等等。那因为这样的作用呢，他们执行这样的作用呢，而被称之为是阿亚达那。其实在这里面呢，它是以矿的含义而被称之为阿亚达那。
Okay. Yes. So the next one is Samosaranatthana. Samosaranatthana means Thana means the place. So Samosaranat means that the place which things coming together, which is the place which unites together, right? Now the example which is given as Manorame āyatane sevantinang vihangama, which means tell about like the birds which are gathering in one particular place, which is beautiful, and so they gathered in a particular place, right? So that's the example given here. So now when it comes to the example in the basis, it says like, say for example, chakku, right? Chakku and the other objects, right? Chakku viññāna, chakku and the chakka-āyatana and the rupa-āyatana and all these things. So it says tatta vattu dvara ārambana vasena samosaranato. So it gathers, it converges together in terms of vattu, right? Like vattu means the bases, and dvara means the doors, and ārambana, it means the objects, right? So like that, they become the place of convergence, of uniting. So that's what is meant as Samosaranatthana.
好，接下来第6个含义呢，是以 samosarana 的含义而被称之为是阿亚达那。那 samosarana 的这个巴利的含义呢，就是集合或者说是汇合处或者说会意的含义那么它可以被翻译成为聚到一起啊，大家集合在一起啊，或者是大家紧密的连接在一起呀。那么比如说有些时候举例呢，比如说有些时候鸟儿们它们会一起呢集合在一处美丽的地方。那在以眼处为例而去进行说明的时候呢，那么在眼处所聚集的呢，那么彼等呢就会有像处、门及所缘等等的作用呢，在这里面集合因为这样的含义呢，所以将它称之为是以聚集的集合的含义呢，被称之为实处。
Yes. Number 7, it's called Sanjati Desattena, which means the arising place, right? Now, we consider the chakku, it is an arising place for the āyatana, right? For the mind and the mental factors, right? So like that, it's considered, it says like tang nissaya ārambana bhāvena tatteva uppatito. So from the chakku, it becomes a nissaya, object. It becomes a place, becomes a base for to arise, right? So again the rupa, and also it becomes the ārambana, right? So like that, it becomes a point of arising place. So that's why it calls as Sanjati Desattena, the place which it arises.
那第7个的含义呢，是以三加地底萨的含义而被称之为是处。那它的含义就是升起的地方。 那比如说对于眼处或者说依于眼镜色呢，它就会升起像眼识。那么在这里面的话呢，它就会有依处的作用。那么相对应的，那一些的所缘呢，它们就会在这里升起所缘的作用等等。因为这样的含义升起的地方的含义呢，而被命名为āyatana处。
Yes. Okay, so number 8, it's called as Karanatena. Karanatena means the cause, the reason, right? Because of the reason it's called as āyatana. And why? Because the chakra, the bases like chakku and all, they becomes the reason for the arising of those dhammas, right? So it says tesang abhave abhavato. So if those chakayatana and all these bases does not exist, these dhammas will not arise. So it becomes, that is why it is called as the cause, the karanatena.
好，那再接下来最后一个的含义呢是 karanatena，是以 karana 的含义呢而被称之为是处。那在这里的 karana 呢，它的含义呢就是因因为它作为因，所以呢被称之为处。比如说，因为有眼处，才会有像眼识的升起。那如果没有眼处呢，也就不会有明法的转起。因为这样的缘故呢，因为它作为因而被称之为处。
So now we move into the elements. So elements, we discussed the meaning about this a little bit in the beginning of our lecture series. So it means because it holds its intrinsic nature, right? Because the dhatu, all these elements, because it hold the intrinsic nature. So that's one meaning. And again, the dhatu, it means the voidness, which means sunyatattho, right? So the first one is sabhavatto. The second one is called sunyatattho, which means the voidness, right? Voidness of a voidness. And then nisattha, right? Nisattata, which means without a soul. It does not possess a soul, right? Devoid of a soul. So that is called as nisatta. Yes.
好，那接下来呢，我们来看一下对于戒的解释。好，那在这里的解释呢，首先提到第一个的含义呢，是因为它具有着一些的特有的本质，也就是说呢它具有一些的自性，所以才被称之为戒。那第二个的含义呢，是因为它是具有空的含义，所以呢才被称之为戒。
Right. Okay. So that's the details regarding the dhatu.
Sorry, Bande.
Yes.
The third one you already explained, right?
Second one.
Third one, Nisadata.
Yes, I already told. Without a soul.
Sorry. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I should explain in Chinese. 那第三个的含义呢是Nisadata，就是它呢是并没有自我，或者呢它并没有灵魂存在的。因为这样的缘故呢，所以被称之为戒。Okay, Bande.
Okay. So now again we need to know why all these are explained, right? In the Pali, we find this our Lord Buddha, when he taught all these methods, right? The Khanda, āyatana, dhātu, satcha, and many more other ways, right? So we need to know why all these methods are there, right? So if you look at the Abhidhamma Pitaka, especially we are studying the Abhidhamma Pitaka right now. So you find the same set of dhammas, right? It's the 89 consciousness, 52 cetasika, nibbana, and the 28 rupas, which are being taught in multitude of ways, right? So the reason which we find in the commentaries, right? So it says basically there are two reasons, right? Number one, it says Veneya. It's one word, right? Veneyajjahase vasena. So Veneyajjahase vasena, it means it's now the reason for the difference on these many method. It's the inclination. It's based on the inclination of the listener, right? It's based on the disposition of the person who is listening to the Dhamma talk, right? Because a lot of people, there are different types of people, right? We know everybody, we are not the same, right? We are different from each other. So whoever the people who comes to listen to Dhamma, in the past their practice was different. It was not the same. So because of that, the ways, the methods to make them understand is different. So that's why that's one reason which is mentioned as that the reason to teach this Dhamma, to explain this Dhamma in different ways, right? So Khanda, āyatana, dhātu, satcha, indriya, paticcasamuppada, defined in so many ways, right? So the reason, one reason is this thing, the Veneyajjahase vasena. Yes.
在我们看到了上述的对于蕴、处、界等等佛陀所给予的解释之后呢，我们联系到佛陀的教法之中，我们在实际的禅修过程之中，也会用蕴、处、界的不同的方式去进行实践。那么他所实践的主体的内容换言之，也都是基于所有的究竟法。哪些的究竟法呢？即是蕴，即是89种的心，52种心所，28种色法以及涅槃。那这些的一切的究竟法呢，我们可以将它们归纳入蕴、处、界、地等的内容之中。然而，佛陀为什么要分别的以这些的法而去教导呢？那在经典之中提到了一些的原因。第一个原因呢是Vinaya-jasaya，就是什么呢？它是为了方便听众们能够听懂。因为在佛陀教授这些法的时候呢，所教授的对象，换言之呢，即是听众，他们是各有各的根器，各有各的基础，他们的背景也不尽相同，他们修学的基础也不一样。为了方便他们能够听懂、能够理解呢，所以呢才会以不同的方法来去进行教导。有些时候呢，以蕴、处、界的方式来教导；有些时候呢，会以地或者是根或者是缘起的方式呢来去进行教导。这是第一个原因。
Okay. Yes. So the next one is called Desana Vilasa Vasena. Desana Vilasa means Desana, we know it's the Desana, it's the Dhamma which is being preached, and the Vilasa, it means beautifying, right? So it means, what you put it together, Desana Vilasa means beautification of the Dhamma, right? It's like you're adding a lot of ornaments to a particular accessory, right? Maybe beautifying something, like maybe a painting, like that. So that's one reason to teach this Dhamma in different ways, right? That this word is also used in the commentaries. So the example which is which given a kind of a simile to explain this thing, which means, like, say for example, if there is a tree and this tree bears beautiful flowers, but say if it is having few flowers here and there in some of the branches, you have only few flowers, not many, just a few, right? So it's not that very beautiful. But if the tree is full of flowers, right, which it's going to be very beautiful, right? It's going to be very pleasant to see that kind of a tree with so many types of, I mean, so many flowers, which is which is in this tree. It's full, right? So like that. So when the desana, the teaching becomes like that, with so many ways, so many things, and it is full with multitude of ways, it's going to be a beautiful one. So that's one reason, which is the reason to explain the Dhammas in many ways, multitude of ways.
第二种的原因呢，即是Desana Vilasa，即是为了使得佛陀的教法更加的优雅，或者呢更加的优美，因为这样的缘故呢，所以才有这些有分别的这个教法的差异。那举例而言呢，比如说我们看到一棵树的时候，那这棵树它的枝桠上面有开一些的花朵，如果这棵树上的花朵非常的稀少，那么很显然这样的树呢，看上去就不会很美观。但如果说这棵树它的树上呢充满着盛开的鲜花，那它的观感就会十分的优美，非常的美丽。对于佛陀的教法也是如此。当佛陀能够以不同的方式来去传授教法的时候呢，就好比一棵树上开满了各种不同的花朵，那它会使得佛陀的教法更加的优美，所以呢，才有以各种的方式比如运出界的不同的方式来去进行教导。
Yes. So having explained all these things, we move to our lesson, right? So lesson is regarding the method number 4, and in method number 4, right, in method number 4 we have 5 groups to explain, right? There are 5 in total, right? So there are 5 in total to explain, 5 groups, right? So before explaining those 5, we'll quickly analyze the sentences, right? The Pali and the translation which comes.
好，那接下来呢，我们要看的是戒论的第4组的法。那这一组的法呢，它一共是有第4法的内容呢，一共是有5组的所探讨的内容那么我们先来快速的结合它的语法的内容呢，来去进行拆解。
Right. So I will go through this Pali, right? Means it says Samudaya Satchayena Ye Dhamma Khanda Sanghayena Sanghahita āyatana Sanghayena Sanghahita Dhātu Sanghayena Sanghahita Tehi Dhammehi Ye Dhamma Khanda Sanghayena Sanghahita āyatana Sanghayena Sanghahita Dhātu Sanghayena Sanghahita Te Dhamma Katihi Khandehi Katihi āyatanehi Katihi Dhātuhi Sanghahita Te Dhamma Ekena Khandena Ekena Ayatanena Ekaya Dhātuya Sanghahita. So I will not go through the English translation, of course. The reason being is that now this translation is grammatically correct, but it is very difficult to comprehend. One thing is that this sentence is very long. The Pali sentence is quite long. And the other thing is the structure or the syntax of the English sentence, right? So it's very difficult to put it in a very understandable way for this sentence, right? So if you wanted to look at a translation, I mean, if you look at a translation, I think it would be better to refer the Mulapattana Sayadaw's book, which is not based on the grammar, right? So I prefer to keep it in this way and explain what is mentioned in the Pali itself, and then go through like work to get the Sarupata, the Paramata Dhammas for each phrase. Right? So that's what I'm going to do, right? I'll not translate this sentence.
好，那首先呢是经文的第191段。那这一段的内容我们先来看一下。那巴利的含义呢是 Samudaya Sajjana Yedama Khanda Sanghahina Sanghahita āyatana Sanghahina Sanghahita Dhātu Sanghahina Sanghahita Dekita Mehi Yedama Khanda Sanghahina Sanghahita āyatana Sanghahina Sanghahita Dhātu Sanghahina Sanghahita Dekidama Kadehi Kandehi Kadiha Yadanehi Kadihi Dhātuhi Sanghahita Dekidama Ikena Kandena Ikena Yadena Ikaya Dhātuya Sanghahita.
Yes,
The
also,
Hanina.
may I interrupt
Yes,
you?
Pandit.
Yes, I
Yeah.
mean, if you want, you can translate into Chinese, right? If it is, I think it would be quite easy to translate to Chinese, right?
Okay,
Because
Pandit.
I think the
Sure.
structure is not very rigid in Chinese, right?
Okay,
The sentence are not rigid. You can move the subject, object here and there, right?
Yeah, we can directly go, no problem.
Yeah, okay, which is good.
好，我们就直接来分析一下这段巴利的内容。Okay, you can continue.
Yes, okay. Okay, so anyway, I will quickly analyze this from this chart, right? It will be easy. So first it comes as Samudaya Saccena Ye Dhamma Khanda Sanghahena Sanghahita āyatana Sanghahena Sanghahita Dhātu Sanghahena Sanghahita. This part is very obvious and easy, which means Samudaya Saccena. It is the classifier term, state of inquiry, right? So we have to derive the Ye Dhamma here, and then we have three instruments and verbs, right? Khanda Sanghahena Sanghahita, āyatana Sanghahena Sanghahita, Dhātu Sanghahena Sanghahita, which means classified using the aggregates, classified using the bases, and classified using the elements, right? So from that we have to derive the Ye Dhamma here, right? Ye Dhamma, right? Then, so this is the part one, right? Part one of the question. Then we have to move to the part two. So in part two, the subject is given as Tehi Dhammehi. Tehi Dhammehi means literally, it means by those states, right? So now what do you mean by those states? It means you have to connect the Ye Dhamma here, the Ye Dhamma here, like this, right? So whatever the Paramattha Dhammas which comes for Ye Dhamma, you have to connect it to this place, to the part two of the question, right? And then we have Khanda Sanghahena Sanghahita, āyatana Khanda Sanghahena Sanghahita, āyatana Sanghahena Sanghahita, Dhātu Sanghahena Sanghahita, which means classified using the aggregates, classified using the bases, classified using the elements, right? And then after that, so by using this Khanda Sanghahena, āyatana Sanghahena, and Dhātu Sanghahena, we have to derive the Ye Dhamma, this Ye Dhamma, right? So now here, the first Ye Dhamma, which was the object in the first part of the question, became the subject in the second part of the question, right? So by this subject, we have to use Khanda Sanghahena Sanghahita, āyatana Sanghahena Sanghahita, Dhātu Sanghahena Sanghahita, and derive this new Ye Dhamma, right? So this is the second Ye Dhamma, right? This is the second Ye Dhamma. So this is the first Ye Dhamma, right? First Ye Dhamma and second Ye Dhamma. We have these two, right? And then in the third part of the question, it says Te Dhamma, those states. Katihi Kandehi, Katihi Ayatanehi, Katihi Dhātuhi Sanghahita, which means under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are those states are classified. So Te Dhamma, which means you have to take it from here, right? The second Ye Dhamma become the Te Dhamma of this part of the question. Then the answer of which, of course, it's quite easy. te dhamma, ekena khandena, ekena āyatanena, ekaya dhātuya samhita. Those states are classified under one aggregate, under one base, and under one element. Right? So you have to get the answer in this way. So the main important thing is that you need to know that there are three parts of the question, and you have two ye dhammas, right? Two these states. So and then that the second one you have to connect it to the part 3 and get the answer.
OK， 阿班尼。OK， 好，那么我们来直接看一下这一段经文它的语法的结构。在这一段的经文，也就是在第四法的经文之中以摄而摄，以摄相摄，这第四法里面呢，构成它的巴利经文的内容呢，是跟之前有所不同。因为在第四法里面，它的问题呢，一共实际上是有3个问题那我们在这其中呢，要仔细的去进行分辨。那第一部分的问题呢，是先在确定了主语之后呢，比如说这里的主语是萨姆达亚萨杰纳以极地作为主语，然后呢，它的宾语呢是耶达玛，这是首先出现的耶达玛。那接下来的Khanda、三个黑那、三个黑大等等呢这个呢，比如说像Khanda、三个黑那呢是句格以韵摄。那三个黑大呢是动词相摄，这是构成它的第一个问题。透过后面的句格和动词，也就是以韵摄相摄，以处摄相摄，以介摄相摄这样的归纳的方式呢，我们将得出耶达玛的内容。那这里的耶达玛呢，将会被用到第二个问题之中，重新再一次的作为新的主语。那基于这个新的主语呢，再以第二个问题之中的Khanda、三个黑那、三个黑大等等的方式呢，去进行筛选和梳理，最终呢又会得出来一个新的耶达玛，也就是第二个问题的宾语。那需要注意的是呢，第一个问题中的耶达玛和第二个问题中的耶达玛呢，它们是两个，它们并不是相同的。那最终我们要使用的是在第二个问题之中梳理出来的得出来的耶达玛，我们会将它再放到第三个问题之中作为主语，然后对它发问。那也就是这个耶达玛，它可以被归纳在几种的韵处阶呢？最终呢得出来答案这个耶达玛呢，它是可以被归纳在几种的韵处阶。这个是第四法它的构成的方式的解读。
Right. Okay. So now we'll move to the Pali and look at how to derive the answer for this question. Right. So this one is Samudaya Satchena Yedhamma, the same sentence which we analyzed. So the state of inquiry is Samudaya Satchena, which means what? The origin truth of suffering, right? It's the origin truth of suffering, which is if you take the Paramattha Dhamma, which is associated here, it's the lower, right? It's the lower. So now we have to look at Khanda Sanghayana Sanghahita, āyatana Sanghayana Sanghahita, and Dhātu Sanghayana Sanghahita. So to get the Khanda Sanghayana Sanghahita, so Samudaya Satcha, it's loba. So we know the loba, it belongs to which aggregate? The Sankhara Khanda, right? The mental formation aggregate. So in mental formation aggregate, which means the Samudaya Satcha is in the mental formation aggregates. So by the Samudaya Satcha, by the loba, the other 49 mental factors, right? Other 49 mental factors excluding, right? 49 mental factors excluding loba, are classified, right? So that's what is mentioned as Khanda Sanghayana Sanghita, right? So from the 50, the 49 mental factors excluding loba is classified by the Samudaya Satcha. Yes.
好，那在这里首先探究这法呢，是萨穆达亚萨扎，就是极地。极地如果从究竟法的角度上，我们来去寻找，那最终我们知道极地所对应的法呢是贪心所这一种。那接下来我们对于贪心所而去进行判断它的业达玛的内容。那贪心所如果首先以运摄呢，这是属于行运之中。行运一共有多少种法呢？行运一共是有50种的心所。那除了贪以外的行运呢，那我们就得出来，首先业达玛它的内容呢，可以是除了贪心所以外的剩下的49种的包含于行运之中的心所。
Right. This also. Now the next one is āyatana Sanghayana Sanghita, which means classified using the basis. So we have to take this thing, right? The origin truth of suffering, and also this set, right? 49 mental factors excluding loba, and go to āyatana Sanghayana Sanghita. So in the āyatana Sanghayana Sanghita, the loba, it belongs to the ideation base, right? So ideation base. So these 49 mental factors, all of them, they also belong to the ideation base. So the āyatana Sanghayana Sanghita also becomes the same set of dhammas, which are the 49 mental factors, right? 49 mental factors. So they become the āyatana Sanghayana Sanghita, right? So by the suffering, by the origin truth of suffering, when the dhammas are classified in Khanda, in the classification of aggregates, the 49 mental factors are classified in the classification of the bases, right? In their ideation base, right? Ideation base. Yes.
那接下来，如果是以触摄相摄我们来看一下。首先，对于探究的法其实贪心所极地而言呢，它属于如果是以运来去归纳，它归纳于归纳于触，以触来归纳，它归纳于哪一种的触呢？那贪心所是属于心所法，那自然的也就被归纳在法处的内容之中。好，上述已经得到的49种心所里面，哪些是属于法处呢？那答案是所有的49种心所都可以被包含在法处之中。
Right. Then we move to the Dhātu Sanghayana Sanghita, which is classified using the elements. So we have to take these 49 mental factors, which is in the ideation base, the 49 mental factors, and again we have to consider the origins truth of suffering, and this again the loba, it's there in the classified in the ideation element, right? Dhammayatana, Dhammadhātu, I'm sorry. So again the 49 mental factors, right? So this 49 mental factors becomes the Yedhamma, right? Becomes the Yedhamma. This also.
那接下来，如果是以戒摄相摄，该如何判断呢？同样的，首先来看一下贪心所极地，它如果归纳在戒之中，归纳于哪里呢？归纳在法界之中。好，那上述已经得到的49种心所，它们哪些可以被包含在法界之中呢？答案是所有的49种心所都可以被包含在法界之中。
Right. So this is the first Yedhamma, right? First Yedhamma. And now when we move to the next phrase of this sentence, Tehi Dhamme Yedhamma Khanda Sangahena Sangahita. So Tehi Dhamme, right? So Tehi Dhamme, this is the new subject, the subject of the second part of this question, right? So the first Tehi Dhamma becomes the subject here, right? The Paramata, the Sarupa Dhammas for the subject here. So again, we have to take the 49 mental factors. Right? We have to take the 49 mental factors, which is the subject, or the subject of the second part of the question. Right? 49 mental factors. So by taking that, we have to again work on Khanda Sangahena Sangahita, āyatana Sangahena Sangahita, and Dhātu Sangahena Sangahita, and arrive the Ye Dhamma here, right? So Khanda Sangahena Sangahita, these 49 mental factors, they are classified in where? Khanda Sangahena Sangahita means classified using the aggregates. So these 49 mental factors are included, they are classified in the mental formations aggregate, right? So in mental formation aggregates, so by these 49 mental factors, what are the dhammas which are classified? That is the lobha, right? Because when this becomes the subject, the lobha, the other dhammas which falls in the same aggregate becomes the dhammas which are classified, right? So Khanda Sangahena Sangahita is the lobha. Yes.
So but this one come back again, like.
Yes, it comes back again also. Yes.
This one very interesting.
Yeah.
好，那么接下来我们在得到了第一个的耶达玛的内容是49个心所之后，正如我们刚刚所看到的分析，第二个问题之中，前面得到的耶达玛将会作为这个句子的主语，也就是 dehe damehe，以那些的法呢？就是我们刚刚得到的49个心所。当它被作为主语之后呢，依于它，然后再用以运摄相摄、以触摄相摄、以界摄相摄的方式去进行判断。对于它而言，它的耶达玛，其余的法是哪些呢？那首先我们来去考虑，那这里的主语呢，就是49种的心所。那这49种的心所可以被归纳于哪一种的运呢？它可以被归纳在行运之中。那么在行运之中，除了这49个心所之外，还剩下哪些的法呢？就还剩下一个的贪心所。所以在这里呢，以运摄相摄，我们首先得到的答案呢是一个贪心所。
Right. Now then we move to the next one, which is the āyatana Sangahena Sangahita. So we have to consider lobha, and we have to use the same subject, which is the 49 mental factors. So āyatana Sangahena Sangahita, it belongs where? The 49 mental factors. It's in the ideation base, right? So again, the only thing that you have to consider, it's the lobha. So āyatana Sangahena Sangahita becomes the lobha. When we move to the dhātu Sangahena Sangahita, it's the same thing, right? It's in the ideation element. So by these 49 mental factors, lobha is classified, right? So it becomes āyatana dhātu Sangahena Sangahita. So Khanda Sangahena Sangahita, āyatana Sangahena Sangahita, and dhātu Sangahena Sangahita. So that becomes the Ye Dhamma here. I'll write it different color. But it is the same color, right? Ye Dhamma here, right? Lobha become the lobha become the second Ye Dhamma. It's not clear. Anyway, it's the second Ye Dhamma, right? So that's so by this way we derive the second Ye Dhamma.
那继续我们来看一下，如果是以触摄相摄呢，那么49种的心所，其实这个的主语它属于哪一种的触呢？它属于法触。 好，那之前所得到的答案，贪心所它是否属于法处呢？它属于法处，同样的道理，它也属于法界。因此，最终我们得出的答案，第二个的耶达玛，它的内容呢，那就是贪心所这一种心所。
Okay. So that Dhamma becomes the Te Dhamma, right? Those states of the third part of the sentence of the question, right? So Te Dhamma, which means the Lobha, right? The Lobha, Te Dhamma, Katihi Kandehi, Katihi āyatani, Katihi dhātu is Sangrita, which means under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements it is that is being classified, right? So it's very easy, right? Te Dhamma, Ekena Khandena, Ekena āyatanena, Ekaya dhātuya Sangrita. So those states are classified under one aggregate, one basis, one base, and one element, right? So Ekena Khandena, the Lobha, it's the Ekena Khandena means the mental formations, right? Mental formations. And Ekena āyatana means the ideation base. Ekaya dhātuya again is the ideation element, right? So that's how we get the answer for this one.
好，那在第二个的问句之中，我们得出来的新的耶达玛它就是贪心所一个心所。好，那第三个问题呢在这里的 de 达玛它的内容呢，也就是我们刚刚所得出的第二个耶达玛它的内容呢就是贪心所。那接下来就问到贪心所这个法它可以被归纳在几种的运处界呢？最终的答案呢是它可以被归纳在一种的运、一种的处和一种的界。那贪心所属于行运，属于法界，属于法处，属于法界。
Okay, so if you all have any questions, now it's time to ask. I can ask the questions.
大家有什么问题可以提出？
Okay, no questions, right? So
Bande,
yes.
brother JJ has a question.
Yes.
Good evening, Bante. Thank you, Bante, for the teaching. Bante, my question is, when we do the first and second way, actually what we are essentially getting is the state of inquiry itself.
Sorry.
So through this method, through the 2-year Dhamma, we are actually getting the state of inquiry itself, the in this case, Lobha. So may I know what's the purpose of doing in this way to get back the state of inquiry itself?
Yes. It's not directly stated in the commentary or in any other source. Actually, there is another method which explained to derive the Ye Dhamma, which is slightly different. I will teach you at the end of the number and at the end of these 5 groups. What I understand, it's a way of taking your mind in a particular way for the meditation practice, right? So these dhammas are, these dhammas are explained in different ways to help and support the meditation in different ways, right? So what I understand, what I have seen in these in these different ways are just not, in the last time in the class I mentioned that, the last session I explained that it's just not the categorization of dhammas which are taught in the Dhatukatha, right? So if you see, like we find 14 ways of categorizing it, analyzing it in different ways, right? But it's, if you look it in that way, but I feel it's not just the categorization, it's a support for the meditation, right? By driving your mind in different ways, like that. So I would be able to give a much better answer tomorrow once I complete these five groups and explain the other alternative method. Then you'll get a much better understanding, and I would be able to explain better with that as well.
Thank you very much, Ante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
刚刚先有问这样一个问题，我们借由这第四法的学习呢，看到他在这里设立的2个耶达玛，那会使得我们最终得到的答案呢，会回到这里被探讨的这个法本身，所以呢，它最终的答案呢是回归到问题的本身。所以先有问这样做的这个意义何在呢？那老师的回答是，那在戒论之中，正如我们之前所提及的，它实际上更多的是一种训练心的方法，或者呢是训练我们对于运用运处戒等方法归纳的形式。那同时呢，它也是具有着实践的价值所在。在心实际上的用这些方法去进行操作的过程之中呢，那它还是能够具有或起到它的实际的意义的。所以换言之呢，在这里它在这2种这个意义上呢，都是有可取之处的。
Yes, and there was a question, I don't know whether it's a question somebody asked in Chinese also. Can you please check in the chat? There's something. I don't know if it's a question or not.
I think maybe to not refer to this class Pandit. So
okay.
No problem.
All right. Yes, so any other questions?
那大家还有其他的问题吗？
So my request is for the yogis to try to practice the Dhatukatha like Patana, like to have some effort, and maybe you have to take the permission from your teacher, of course, right, from your Kammatana teacher, and then try to practice some of this method. Then you'll be better explain. You'll be able to better understand, of course, explain these things. Right? It's a kind request from you.
Right? 那真者说呢，我们这个戒论的学习，它实际上呢，是可以有实践的价值所在的。如果在座的各位是有经验的禅修者呢，可以尝试去实际的操作一下。当然的话，也要经过业处老师的允许或者说一些指点，去尝试进行实践。这样的话呢，是更好的。这也是老师对大家的一些期许。
Okay, so we'll end the class, right? I think it's, don't have any questions.
Okay, but I think we can finish.
Yes. Okay, so we'll share the merits which we accumulated during the last 1.5 hours by teaching, by learning, by reflecting the supreme words of our Lord Buddha. So may this Kusala Kamma be a supportive factor for us to attain Nibbana. Maybe this Kusala Kamma be a parami for us to attain Nibbana. From this Kusala Kamma, may our teachers, may our devotees, and the other practitioners and yogis, bhikkhus, and everybody be happy, healthy, and peaceful. And may this Kusala Kamma be a supportive factor for them to attain Nibbana. Also, may this Kusala Kamma be a supportive factor for all the beings in this world and the other worlds to attain Nibbana. So, so with this wish, we'll share the merits. by reciting the final stanzas which comes in the Abhidhamma commentary. Yang pattang kusalang tasse anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa nyatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukhamuttamang chirang tittatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarva sabbepi satta kalena sammadevo pavassatu yatharaktinsu purana surajano tatevimang raja rakkhatu dhammena attanova pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi addhaimaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha parimuccissami idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu idam me punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu sadhu 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 buddha sasanang chirang tithatu buddha sasanang chirang tithatu buddha sasanang chirang tithatu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much for Ben's teaching and kindness. Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for your support to translate this Dhamma.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.